Oh my goodness, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. Thank you for hitting me up. I should have checked that to begin with. Oh my goodness. Okay, so back to it. Wow, I was talking to myself. Thanks, Capone, for hitting me up. Let me know that. So, back to it. Yeah. Uh, welcome everybody. Uh, Mark P, can you hear me now? Can you hit me up in the chat if you can hear me? No sound on YouTube. Mm, all right. Can you hear me now? Let me know in the chat section if you hear me now. It's a little delay. I think I got it fixed, but let's see. Ah, thank you. We are good now. Woo! All right. Sorry for that delay there, gentlemen. Yeah, welcome to Goodwood University Office Hours. My name is Brian, aka Uncle B, and I'm the men's performance coach with Goodwood. Joe can hear me now. Tim, what's going on, Tim? We good? We good? All right. Thanks, Mark P. And Jonathan, for letting me know. So yeah, now that we're back, let's get into it because today we're talking about a very interesting topic, which is basically, you know, when you get big, when you get better, what does that result? What does that result feel like? And I wanted to give this information because we have a lot of guys who come in. I've worked with guys who haven't had erections in 20 years, have unreliable erections for like decades. And a lot of times you get disheartened. You're like wondering how long it's going to take. When is it going to work? Well, what I would definitely say is to keep on going at it because the guy he was abusing steroids early on in life, 20 years later, he was able to get his erections back. That takes, some dedication. It takes some work. It takes not doing the normal that everyone else is doing because everyone else is ending up in situations where stuff isn't working for them properly. So we want to avoid that at all cost. And so what does that feel like? So for me personally, I've been, like I said, a sexual performance coach for 23 years. In the first years, I was dealing with, a since I was 25. So, you know, I'm just dealing with myself, you know, just in terms of being able to figure out, I'm young. I have that testosterone already going. I come across this fantastic formula called African Fly. The first time I tried it with my now ex, um, we gave each other a high five in bed. So it was like, yo, just off break, it was working. And then over time, life kicked in. And so, it wasn't until around 35 that I noticed I wasn't doing the same as I used to do. And the reason why is because I had the African fly. It was masking, all the other things that I was messing up at. So it wasn't until I was in my good 40s and going into 45 that I was like, okay, this is just horrible. Just in terms of I understand what I'm supposed to do, but always focused in on the sexual performance, not on the sexual health side of things. And now I'm to the sexual health side of things because as you get older, you have to focus in on that. If you don't focus in on that, then it'll start leaving no matter what you're taking. That's the reason why I tell people when you're taking something like a Viagra, why it actually does not work over the long run because you're masking the problems. You're not dealing with the actual things you're supposed to do with the supplement. It's supposed to supplement the other things you're doing. And if you're not doing that, then things are not going to work well for you. So as I hit 45, it was like, okay, I have to make the change. And it's taken like a good 7 years of going through and figuring out exactly what I need to do in order to get to that next level. And getting to that next level takes time. Um, but if you have the right information, you can accelerate the process. You have the right supplements, you can accelerate the process. And when you get to the other side, that's when, things it just works. You start getting to your morning erections, your spontaneous erections, your erections on demand. Everything is working. You feel that energy. Do we still have not don't have audio? Am I missing out? Hmm. Michael Anderson says no audio. Does everyone else hear me? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section, please. Um, so I'll just keep going until somebody hits me up and lets me know that we don't have audio because I believe we do. So, but basically, what ends up happening is, that next level is like what happens next is that you just feel younger. I've been taking the supplements. I've been doing all the different things we talk about. Clean the plate. James says he can hear me. Good deal. Tim says he can hear me. Good deal. I hope you can hear me, Mr. Anderson. It may take like a hot second for you to catch up. Capone can hear me. All right, good. But yeah, once you get to the other side, it is amazing because I often say that youth is what everyone says youth is wasted on the young, and that's because you don't appreciate what you have is just there and you don't pay attention to it. When you do the things we talk about in terms of your exercise, your energy, your sleep, your intermittent fasting, and your soul, you're getting rid of that stress. You do all these things, you're taking the supplements, you get to that level, you do have a much better appreciation of it. It's sort of like when I blew out my knee and I couldn't walk or walk, run, or do anything else for like a few weeks. I really did appreciate the fact that it's like, wow, I remember walking and how great it was. It's the same thing. It's like I now remember what it's like to homegirl just walks into the room and it's like I feel that surge, that surge of energy. She's taking off her clothes. It's like, oh, I'm set. There's no, I remember that time of just being nervous, like, okay, she's here now. What am I erect? When is it going to work? You're thinking so much, and now when you don't have to think at all, she just comes over, you're into it. Your refractory period is shorter, you can last longer, you can last as long as you want. All those things can happen, and I want to make sure that you understand that it isn't like something that happens overnight. That's when you take those pills and you just get an erection. That's great, but it's like, do you have the energy? Do you have the stamina? Do you actually feel as good? Do you feel that desire? Or because with something like a Viagra, it doesn't increase your testosterone. It just blocks blood flow from leaving out of the penis. So you're not getting the other pieces that are necessary for you to have the full sexual performance experience. Uh, so whenever I'm talking to different guys, like I was talking to a guy, just call him Bill, straight up jealous of Bill because he was 28. He was 28. He was getting all this information that I wish I had when I was 28. I mean, I had the formula. It was helping out a lot. But when you don't have the information, especially now, we're dealing with guys who have you're like living in a situation where you're not as healthy, because the world is not as healthy as it possibly could be. um, and so you end up in a situation where you're not getting all the right nutrition, you're not getting the right sleep, you're not getting all the things, and it adds up. And we're just reverse engineering all the stuff we needed to do. So clean the plate, James. Question: is green plantain good for you? Yeah, yeah, depends. Obviously, depends on how you prepare it and everything like that. If you're a lot of people like to sugar their plantain up, uh, that's not obviously that's not good for you. But in terms of the plantain itself, when you're talking about green plantain, I know you have to prepare it slightly differently than the ripe plantain. So just make sure you got it prepared correctly so you don't feel a little bit sick. But yeah, when it comes to eating any of those types, any fruits or vegetables is going to have a benefit for you. And it's typically, we would point out like certain things, like for example, when I'm talking about different herbs, like I have my sets of herbs back there. When I'm talking about different herbs, it's always that question of like which one's the best, which one's going to do it. Ah, clean the plate, James says, just boil it. Yep, yep, that'll do it. When it comes to taking different herbs and things like that, it's like, well, yeah, you want to get it as natural as possible, as close to the source as possible, or at the very least that you have a very good source of information, not information, a very good source where the plants are coming from. So even with plantains, it's like, how is the soil? What was the nutritional value of it? I mean, you can get deep into the weeds of it, but that's the thought process. Have it as natural as possible. For those guys who are hopping on, my name is Brian, aka Uncle B, and I'm the men's performance coach with Goodwood. This is Goodwood University office hours. Please go ahead and hit me up in the chat. Let me know where you're coming from, and if you have any questions. Today we're talking about what happens when you get to the other side, when you get to the point where your sexual performance is working well. And just a couple of notes so that you understand what the process takes. We in Goodwood University, we have a program called ECS 25. It's energy, sleep, exercise, intermittent fasting, and Soul 25. It's a tracking process that allows you to track exactly what's going on with you day to day to day, just like you probably don't remember what you ate 2 Wednesdays ago. Slipped your mind, but it could give you a clue as to why by the time on Friday night, you weren't functioning the way that you were. Especially when we talk about guys who are unreliable. It's like you're a 5, 6, 7, 8 on 5, 6, 7 on the sexual performance scale. It's like, hey, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's like, well, yesterday it was great, last week it was great, today is horrible. What just happened? It's your pattern. It's the things that you're doing day to day to day, and those are the things that we focus in on when we say your energy. It's like, what did you eat? How is your breathing? Have you been out in sunlight? Have you been getting your water? When it comes to your sleep, are you getting your 7, 8 hours of sleep? And I mean high quality sleep. When it comes to your exercise, are you actually getting your exercise in, or are you just playing around? Intermittent fasting, are you giving your body enough time to heal and give it the testosterone building potential that you get when you go to sleep? And also, are you stressed out? Once you understand all of these, how these all tie in together, then you're going to get a much better result. Because a lot of times people were like, well, you know what, I've been exercising and everything like that, Uncle B, and it's like, I haven't, my erections aren't coming back. It's like, well, how's your sleep? Well, I get my 4 hours in. Like, well, then you just wasted your time with the exercise. You have to understand how these tie in together. Mr. MJ. Hmm. uh Mr. J. Okay, it's the second time live chat where you have ignored my question. Uh, I don't. Where's your question? All right. Uh huh. Where's your question? Because I get a list, sir. I get a whole list. All right. I probably didn't answer your question because I do not see your question. If you go ahead, retype that question in. I have no problem. You have no audio. Now, please answer my. I don't see your question. Uh, Tim says, I think I've been really stressed out lately. And yeah, that's something that, I actually talked about earlier today, because I have a lot of clients that I talk to. And a lot of times, especially when I'm talking to guys, I'll ask a couple of questions to see where they are. And they'll say, like, it's like, well, how's your sleep? Oh, my sleep is like horrible. And, I can't really get to sleep, can't fall asleep. And then I'll ask, well, what's your stress level? It's like, oh, I'm managing my stress. It's not a problem. And it's like, well, it's showing up in your sleep. That's what's happening. A lot of times, what we'll do is compartmentalize our stress, and so we can deal with it better. I mean, we're the men, so it's like you got to go up this hill and fight this battle, and something happened over here, something happened over here. You have to stay focused, and so that part of staying focused allows us to compartmentalize our levels of stress. And when you don't pay attention to it, you can have something that's stressing you out. That you weren't even paying attention to, and you can actually um, get to a point where you're on one side of your brain, you're thinking okay, but on the other side, you're just stressed out, and your body remembers the stress part. Even if your brain is like, no, 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 focus over here. We're going to stay in happy land over here. And so, what you need to do when guys are dealing with stress, the first thing, by far, I do micro meditations. Basically, I'll just close my eyes and count to 10. When I say breathing in and out, so just just make sure the exhale is longer than the inhale. That's a way that your body can calm down the blood pressure, slow everything down. Here's the thing: typically, when we're going through our day, we are on auto. We repeating the same things over and over again. It's sort of like when you're driving to work. You know how you can sort of blank out and you just show up at work. You just, oh, dang, didn't you? I stopped it. You stopped at all the red lights. You did all the things. You're safely at work, but you really don't remember what just happened. And that's when your mind is in beta, it can just theta, beta or theta. But anyway, it's just the fact that you're allowed to. Your brain does that to allow you to succeed. The same thing comes down to your stress. You need to not only not only you're compartmentalizing it, but when you do the levels of meditation, it just allows your brain to relax and allow you to make better decisions on auto. Just like getting to work, you did that on auto. You can start making better decisions on auto because your brain is less stressed. So yeah, whenever you can, just 10 seconds of that meditation, and it's going to work. Hey, Mr. J, I still don't see your question in here. Let me check something right quick because it may be that your question is too hot for YouTube. I'm almost guessing that is. That's. Uh, I am almost guessing what that's what that is. Let me see if I can find. Uh, mhm. uh, Let me see if I can find that real quick. I don't see it as of yet. Mhm. But yeah, sometimes, guys, just to let you know, we do have situations where we're not actually allowed to, can't write in certain questions. So I'm guessing that's the reason why uh, I cannot see your question, sir. So yeah, I'm not sure what you're asking, but YouTube doesn't like it, so it's not coming through. Um, but yeah, yeah. So guys, um, any other questions? Go ahead and leave that in the comment section. Um, but yeah, in terms of your stress levels, yeah, really do focus in on it. In terms of, you may have to go ahead and just make a list of all the things that are stressing you out and just write that down and day by day tackle it. You don't have to do it all at one time because that's going to stress you out. You want to do that over a period of time so that you get to the point where things are working for you correctly. So for the guys who just joined in, this is Brian, aka Uncle B, and this is Goodwood University. We are talking about the other side, what happens when you get to a healthy level and you can have erections on demand, and what's next after that. Once you have your erections on demand, you've done the things, you got it to the point where you're good. What do you need to do next? Well, you need to keep it. And I think that's the whole point of understanding all of this. This is putting together a lifestyle. The lifestyle we currently have, where we're stressed out, where it's confusing about what food you're supposed to eat, we're not getting to sleep, et cetera, et cetera. It's all about figuring out a lifestyle that you can use for long term. Yesterday we were talking about keto, and the person was asking my thoughts on keto. And for me, keto is we have people that it worked for, we have some other people that it didn't work for. The one thing I do know is that keto is difficult for a lot of people, and so they don't hang on to it. It's not something that you can turn into a lifestyle. This is all about turning it all into a lifestyle, because guys, if you want to get to the point where you have erections on demand, it has to be a lifestyle. I'm talking about having erections on demand when you're 80. If you're going to be in an old folks home, there's going to be a lot of women looking around at all the men, other men who don't function, and you the man who's can function. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm. Yeah. So Tim, good point there, sir. He's saying, hmm dealing with that, with what I'm dealing with. You don't even got to explain any further, sir. Life is life. I know I'm stressed out. I'm trying to work out more and fast more. Yeah, that's definitely good. Especially, like I said, all these things tying together. So if you are getting that good workout in, you're probably going to get a much better, higher quality sleep. You have higher quality sleep. You're going to be less stressed to begin with. So you're going to make better decisions, which is going to lead to less stressful situations later on. So all of it ties in perfectly. So yeah, if you're going to um, get that workout in, and fasting just allows your brain to operate a lot better anyway. It gives your brain the freedom to not focus in on food. um, and also allows your body to do autophagy, which is to get rid of the bad cells, which allows you to actually focus in more on your it allows your body to do more things to make you healthier faster. And a lot of times this is what we're talking about, because people want to, like, hey, I want to get erections on demand, how quick can I do it? And it's like, well, your body can respond extremely quickly, extreme, because your body's designed to heal itself. We're just in an environment that it doesn't allow us to heal ourselves. And so you're sort of stuck into a routine, which is supposed to happen throughout your entire life. You should be going on the upward spiral. Uh, when we talk about ECS 25, that's you score 5 points in each one of those areas: energy, sleep, exercise, intermittent fasting, and soul. And so, if you get a 25 out of 25, you're going up the upward spiral very quickly, exponentially. If you get a 20, you're still going up the upward spiral. just not as fast. If you're 15, that's all right. But the problem is that if you stay at 15 over a long time, you're going down. And if you're 0 to 10, you need to change that quickly because you are definitely going down. Got a question here. Ah, clean the plate, James. I knew we had a question about some meat on there. Some meat on that plate, man. So no meat at all. Um, I'm not saying that. I am saying though, if you have erection issues, then that can be a cause. It's not the only cause, but it can be. It's one of the bigger causes. What ends up happening when you eat meat, your body reacts like it's supposed to react. It's trying to you consume something that's dead. It doesn't have any energy. I mean, it does and it does. I mean, we could survive off of meat, obviously, um, but we just have too much of it all at the same time nowadays. There was never a point in human history where you could have meat at every meal for a whole family for years. That was completely impossible before the industrial food revolution. Um, and that was back in the 1960s. And you can literally look at the decline in, the increase in erectile dysfunction from the 1950s. In the 1950s, it was like 2%. Now it's at 50%. And I've said this before, and people were like, "Well, maybe they weren't saying it that they had it." It's like, no, it's a possibility. They just didn't have it. Um, they weren't living anywhere near. In the 1950s, TV went off. McDonald's was not open all night. In fact, McDonald's was just starting. Uh, people had better sleep. People weren't using their devices and everything like that. So you had a completely different world back then. And also, once again, there wasn't that much meat to consume on a regular basis. So I understand. I used to eat 300 animals a month, 200 to 300 animals a month, and now I don't. And that's the difference between I was a 5 then and I'm a 9 now, trying to get up to a 10. And so, I don't say don't eat meat at all. I don't want someone to catch me out there and, man, what you doing to that piece of chicken? Because I'm like maybe once a week, and that's becoming less and less. Just depends on what's going on. We're in just had a birthday, it's Father's Day, Mother's Day. There's always these celebrations, graduations, et cetera, et cetera. And you just find yourself in a situation. I'm not going to beat myself up, but at the same time, I do recognize that if I do that continuously, it does show up um, in the erections department. So those are the type of things to be aware of. A lot of times people don't think about that. They're just like, "Hey, I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm going to eat whatever's, hey, it's right there. I'm gonna eat that," and not recognizing that once you eat that, it actually increases the thickness of your blood. And as far as when you have erections during your sleep, you have 4 to 5 erections while asleep, and the duration of those erections are shorter, and the volume of those erections, the size of those erections are smaller. So that happens when you consume meat. So once again, I'm not telling you not to eat meat. I understand, but if you it's just like a person with lung cancer, you tell them to stop smoking. It's that simple. So, uh-huh. Hmm. Yeah. And Mr. J, I still don't see your question there, man. Um uh-huh. Yeah. I don't intend on rambling on, sir. I have no problems answering any questions because that's what I do. I'm gonna keep it straight. That's what I like about being an uncle. I am going to answer the questions, and I'm not concerned about your feelings. I'm still going to show up to family reunion, eat up all your mama's mashed potatoes. Uh, yeah, if they taste good, just letting you know. Just letting you know. So, so there we have it. That's what I wanted to get the message out to you guys. If you want to get erections on demand, it can happen. What needs to happen once you have those erections on demand? You need to keep them. You need to keep them. Otherwise, you're going to be back to a situation that you want to be in. You worked hard to avoid it. This is all about turning it into a lifestyle. So I guarantee you, a good 7 years ago, there's absolutely no way just like Brian, you're going to be walking 5 miles in the morning and drinking a bunch of water and taking all types of herbs and doing push-ups randomly and all the different things that now I don't think about anymore. That was difficult. So that's the whole process. You want to get to a point where it's not difficult for you to have get to erections on demand because that's part of your lifestyle. So there we have it. We're coming up at the end here. Do you have any other questions? This always happens right before we're about to sign off. Some questions pop up. So go ahead and put those questions in. Once again, I do invite you, if you have any questions, if you want to go deeper into these subjects, join us at Goodwood University. Goodwood University is designed for guys who are serious about getting their sexual health together. And, it doesn't cost anything to join. We do have private groups and one-on-one sessions. Those do cost. And that's going to be coming soon. But in the meantime, we do have a challenge going on that you can join us in, and you can get all the information you want to in terms of getting back to your sexual health. This is a mission of ours because there's too many guys out there with sexual health problems, period. And we're trying to help as many people as possible. So don't see any more questions in here. I want to thank everybody for joining us here for the office hours. And once again, if you want to check out Goodwood or Goodwood Advanced, you can go to givegoodwood.com. That's all I have. No more questions. All right, cool. So we'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about, let me just double check right quick. What is the subject for tomorrow? Uh-huh. Yeah, we're talking about dad who's getting his swagger back. So yeah. That's going to be really interesting for a lot of guys out there, dads who are like, how do I get back? He's an empty nester. How do I get back to being great again? Without making the kids this time. So, all right. So, guys, this has been great. This is Brian, aka Uncle B, saying, get your game up and go hard. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.